During 9/11, people were arrested for jacking up the gas prices to lower than it is now.
Right, yeah, think about that.
It's amazing.
Do you remember when
Even
Barack
the oil baron from Fern Gully would be like, that's severe.
Yeah, come on. I'm not trying to hurt everyone.
Yeah.
Right. Barack Obama even said during his gas spike, it's weird how this happens under Democrat-controlled regime. I don't understand it. He said, just make sure you air up your tires.
Yeah.
You remember that advice? Now,
Yes.
he's not 100% wrong, but it's like, okay, fine. That'll take, 2 cents off of that? Like, I'll gain 0.02%. Fine.
It's like, just make sure to air up your tires. I'm like, oh, yeah, tell that to half the Senate as I'm stabbing them.
Well,
figuratively.
a lot of gals
tires,
and
the tires,
lady men don't know how to do that.
Right. Just to be clear, I meant tires.
Tires.
Not stabbing a person. Even then, it's figurative. I would never
TYR.
slash a tire.
Yes, yeah.
Just prices.
Right.
I hate
Put on a happy face. Okay.
No, I won't.
Foreign policy. Well, let's compare Biden to Jimmy Carter. I know.
I was just laughing because
We were watching that. That's a report. What did it say? The average price was $4.17.
417. 2 days ago, I think.
It's $4.30 something today.
It's gone up about 50 to 60 cents in the last week, I believe. Yay!
well, it's,
I'll get fact checked by Reuters just because since coming on this show, the gas price has actually changed. You'd be closer to the price at the beginning of the show playing Plinko. Now,
yeah, well, I'll pay $14 a gallon just as long as I can drive whatever Tesla. Yeah.
I'll pay an extra few dollars a gallon so long as my driver gets me to my place on time.
Yep. I don't care. I don't mind if my Uber's $1,400 to go to the grocery store.
Let's go to inflation. This is one. How does this affect you? Under former Vice President Joe Biden, you all know this, inflation in the consumer price index is, when you hear me use the term CPI, that's what it means. It's sort of a general measurement. And I'll come back to it because now it's misleading. The CPI now went up 7.9% through February in 2022. Now, you've all heard this, but just so you don't take my word for it, this is the highest, and this is key, the highest inflation rate for a quarter or month in 40 years.
Year over year, 7.9% is the inflation number. That is a 40-year high. Month over month, up 0.8%. That shows that even month to month, inflation is accelerating. It is gas, it is shelter, it is food, groceries. All these things you basically can't live without are rising here. So when you dig into these numbers, you can see just why so many Americans are so sour on the economy on those opinion polls.
That's a good way for me. I'm a little sour.
Yeah.
Sour is not the right word.
Little tummy ache on.
No job, crippling financial woes. Oh, it's a little sour.
No home, can't afford to drive your kids to soccer games, food too expensive.
Got a bad
Need a
flavor.
Tums, maybe a Rolaids.
Leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, schnozberry. Now, let's compare. That's a 40-year high. Do the math. 40 years? Oh, it's a 40-year high exactly since the embarrassment that was President Jimmy Carter, where the CPI rose 13.5%. 13.5%, yeah. Under Carter in 1980. Now, here's the thing that matters, that a lot of people don't understand, because sometimes the way that we sort of like a vaccine adverse reactions, like we just talked about. You change the numbers, sort of like infant mortality rate. When people say we have a higher one in the United States, it's because we actually count the lives that are lost, whereas they just say that's not a life in a lot of other nations. The CPI, right, the Consumer Price Index, when we're talking about this inflation, under Carter at 13.5, that included the rising cost of housing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you've been paying attention, kind of a big deal today. So the rate that you see of 7% under Biden does not include that. If you adjusted for that, for an apples-to-apples comparison, the inflation rate would actually be 11%. Under former Vice
Almost a
President Joe Biden.
direct responsibility for what they called Reaganomics and treated like it was a bad thing. It was like, so you could still buy a home after what he did to the country.
Right.
Well, do you know what the interest rates were then? You're talking about 3, 4, 5% on a house right now, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. It was in the double digits.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe even some cases 20%. Can you imagine?
Well, that was like every used car lot, too, where it's like you can get a car for only 20%.
Yeah. It's like, holy crap. You have no idea what it's like to live under the mistakes of this kind of administration, but unfortunately, we're about to find out.
Mel Farr in Detroit wore a cape and flew around and gave everybody low prices with a 20%
interest
rate on cars.
Only
like, why you got a
20%.
cape on? You're not super.
At the time, it was.
At the time, it was.
Yeah, it was like only 20%.
Yeah, it was really. He's like, how do I do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm guessing something illegal.
He was the wealthiest black businessman in the world, and he owned a car lot.
Several.
That's how
car
bad
lots.
the Jimmy Carter presidency was.
Yeah.
In the Motor City.
Yes, correct.
It's like
That's where they don't even have
really?
to ship them to other places.
You just drove out of the parking garage that I overlook from my bombed-out crack den. Here, 20%, that's a good deal.
That is one hell
That's
of
what
a
I'm
deal.
telling you.
Sign me up.
That's what I told you, honey.
They had to tell Don Gooley Cadillac to stop letting drug dealers pay him in cash because they didn't want the high interest rates. They're like, you really are taking a lot of cash for brand new Eldorados. No paper trail. Yeah, he just handed me a wad of money with blood on it.
Yeah.
There's your Fleetwood.
Still spins.
Like, this anthrax or just Coke? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I was worried.
So we've gone through what? We've gone through inflation. We've gone through international policy. We've gone through gas prices by themselves, energy prices, because inflation is something that affects everything. And the energy prices are something that sort of exist. Well, they exist as a portion of inflation, but it's an entirely different beast altogether when it's this bad. And keep in mind, too, that with the rising cost of energy, there's that rubber band effect. So you're going to see very likely far worse inflation, and you'll see them try and massage the numbers to tell you that it's not that bad. Kind of like when they told you inflation was a good thing, but now they're telling you that they're going to do something to get costs down and bring down. Well, why do you need to do that if it's a good thing? Again, none of this makes sense. So this brings us to another comparison. The disastrous results, and this is the silver lining, folks, okay? The disastrous results of Jimmy Carter led to what? Led to what? Led to what? Midterms. And in those midterms, I have these numbers in front of me, it was +3, right? They gained, Republicans gained 3 seats in the Senate. They gained 15 in the House, and there were 6 Republican governor wins.
Yeah.
+6 Republican governors. That was considered, until like Barack Obama, that was considered an unbelievable shift in midterms.
Well, and you're about to see it again.
That's okay.
Big time.
So this brings me to my point. Midterms, Jimmy Carter, we don't have them yet. But even the media at this point is trying to soften the blow. It's what psychologists call front-loading, by letting you know that, ooh, this is going to hurt.
President Biden will enter his second year in office after the new year, but he faces a big test. Can he and Democrats hold on to their power? The 2022 midterm elections are expected to be tough for Democrats, according to an average of polls by 538. Mr. Biden's approval rating has dropped to the low 40s.
The NBC News poll at the end of last year, and I'll show you where things were. So, on direction of the country, 70% wrong track. That's in big-time shellacking territory. You look at the presidential job rating as of our last poll here. Hang on a minute, and as you can see, his approval sitting at 42. Again, that would put Democrats in shellacking territory.
In April, it was 88.3. Americans were feeling pretty good about the direction. Early in the Biden administration, they thought COVID was getting better. They thought the economy was getting better. You look at this number now, 70.3 from April to August. That's a big drop. Number two,
it's worse
that
now.
number, if
roughly everybody.
If it's below 80, the incumbent party needs to worry.
31% of Iowans approve of how Joe Biden is handling his duties as president, while a whopping 62% disapprove. This poll then is rightly understood as a blaring red alarm for not just Biden, but especially down ballot Democrats in Iowa and elsewhere who will be running in the 2022 midterms.
Don't you also love how the media just assumes that this concerns you because these are warning bells? No, these are victory bells, bitch. People they assume they're like, isn't this terrible? And 61% are saying, that's why I said what I said. I'm one of the 60. What are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Things are about to get better alarm is what's going on.
Yes. Or they're about to get less worse.
Well, yeah. Well.
Less horrible.
Gosh, if they come in and don't do anything, I'm just going to be like, all right, I give up on you.
Yeah, Republicans?
Yes.
I'm just glad they got
balls.
that last guy out.
Yes.
Well.
That dollar for gas and money in the bank. Hell.
Don't get me started on those snippy tweets.
Low unemployment. Who needs that?
He said a sexual thing on a bus once.
Yeah, I know.
Son of a bee sting.
And honestly, it even kind of sounded fun. So.
It did. Was that Billy?
Figuratively.
It's a joke.
Billy who?
Billy Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy unemployed.
Who wouldn't want to impress Billy Bush?
Yeah, exactly.
He's just trying to make conversation with Billy Bush.
Yeah.
What would you talk about?
What if he was nervous looking himself in the mirror before, like, gotta impress Mr. Bush. You only get one first impression. Grab by the pussy, right?
Oh, no. Did I oversell it?
I did it wrong.
Aren't I a card? All right. I'm sorry, Billy. I'm sorry.
That's
Really,
awesome.
I'm incorrigible. Excuse me. I'm incorrigible, right? You want to be my friend?
We have to have the self-conscious Trump skit.
Yeah.
That's never happened.
Oh, ever.
Exactly. That's what's funny.
No, that's why you say a sentence like that. Because there's no self-conscious aspect.
I bet you Donald Trump was on the set of Home Alone 2, and they were like, okay, and action. The bathroom's over there.
I did it. Done. Like
Yeah.
Sinatra on
Yeah.
Ocean's 11.
They haven't even checked the gate. Oh my God. It's halfway down the hall.
They just tape them now. It's fine.
So this brings me to this is a bonus point here too that I realized. Actually, someone else here brought it to my attention. You know, Jimmy Carter, voter fraud. Now, I'm not referring to at all the safest and most secure election in history. If you're not a member of Mug Club, louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But here on for all intents and purposes, on YouTube, best election ever.
Best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm such a huge fan.
Yeah, is the Godfather 2 of elections.
Yeah.
Of that, there can be no debate.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.